When President Trump abruptly cancelled the talks with the Taliban in September, he said it was because of the killing of a US soldier. He said the talks were dead, but many believe it was because it was felt the US was giving away too much for too little. But with the resumption of talks in Doha, observers say they are starting where they left off, with no change.
One thing is for sure, the US-led coalition, the United States of America, is very keen to put an end to this process that was started long back. They've had 9 rounds of talks in 2018 and 2019, and perhaps this is the time where it needs to be done and dusted.
The Afghan government has been sidelined from the previous year-long dialogue because the Taliban refuses direct talks. But President Ashraf Ghani's government, bolstered by a series of military successes, is quietly optimistic that now the talks will lead to a place at the negotiating table.
A few months ago, we was in defense position. Now we are in offensive position, and we took Ghani district from Taliban. We are doing much better in highways. There is 2 important points. One, ceasefire. One, inter-Afghan negotiation.
Both of these demands have been rejected by the Taliban in the past, but President Trump talked optimistically about a ceasefire during a visit to US troops in Afghanistan in November, where he also met the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani.
The Taliban wants to make a deal, and we're meeting with them, and we're saying it has to be a ceasefire. They didn't want to do a ceasefire, but now they do want to do a ceasefire. I believe it will probably work out that way.
But so far, the Taliban has not responded to that claim. The Afghan army, with US air support, has been taking territory recently, but the Taliban still controls more than 50% of the country. It's unlikely the Taliban will agree to a ceasefire before there's a definitive signed agreement for a US troop withdrawal. It's still in a strong position, and a ceasefire is a valuable bargaining chip it won't give away easily. Afghanistan has been in political deadlock since its presidential elections 3 months ago. The results have still not been released because of allegations of widespread vote rigging and fraud. That is unlikely to help the peace process. The Taliban has said the war is now about time and money, and it has the time. President Trump is keen to reduce the financial burden and bring the troops home, and he wants that done before next year's presidential election. For such a complicated issue, that may be an overly ambitious timeframe. Tony Birtley, Aljazeera, Kabul.